This week in PlayStation, we're talking about the action RPG we're sleeping on. We're talking about Blessings, Tekken 8 thoughts. And of course, we're talking about PS5's 2024 versus 2023. We'll have all this and more because this is PS I Love You XOXO. It's some people play checkers with their drinks during a podcast. I play chess.
You play chess.
All right, that's why you're seeing me move the.
Are you scared I'm going to drink out of your cup? Is that what's going to happen?
No, I was more scared of encroaching on your space.
Oh.
It's the idea that I'm gonna definitely mainline the coffee.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'll get to the water, but I had it a
The
bit
water's
over
your side
here,
quest.
like
You're gonna mainline the coffee.
in your spot. I want to make
Oh,
sure.
that's fine. Like I got my drink over there.
But you're not gonna have it there forever.
We
just talked about it before. If you're an audio listener, you're missing out, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying out a new set for PS I Love You, and more laid back. We're on the same set, but using the chairs or whatever. So we're sharing a little table. We got the big table up front or whatever. And look at there, it's already working in the live chat over there. A tribe called Matt says, "I lick this look," and then he says like, but he did say he licked it. All right.
The question is, do I even take one sip of this windy Sprite?
See, my thing is, you were already complaining about having the laptop and the mouse and this vibe. Yeah, now you're gonna lean over. You're gonna lean over and get.
It's gonna be a whole thing, but I don't know. I like it aesthetically. I think aesthetically this is a good look, and also I'm not regularly on any show that uses the couch setup.
Comfy.
Yeah, it's very comfortable.
Yeah,
I feel like I should have some kind of like hot cocoa.
I tried to give you a bourbon earlier. You said no.
But this is too early in the day. You know, it's 12. We're recording this at 12:30 p.m. I got an eye appointment later on. I can't have my vision blurred. The eye appointment.
I would love it. They're like doing one or two. Have you been drinking bourbon?
I start trying to do the alphabet backwards. And I'm like, I'm not doing a great job. I'm like, Z, Y. Is there an X in there? I don't know.
Welcome to PS I Love You XOXO, your weekly PlayStation conversation. That's Blessing. I'm Greg, and if you love what we do, please support us with a KindaFunny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free, watch us record them live, and get a daily exclusive show Greg way. You can get PS I Love You XOXO for free without the ad, for free with ads and without the exclusive content on YouTube and podcast services around the globe. Thank you to our Patreon producer, Delaney Twining. Today, we're brought to you by the KindaFunny membership. But let's start with a PSN message from you.
Can I ask a logistical question? We have two chats.
Yeah.
Why? Why is it the YouTube member?
Have you never been on a show since we started doing this?
No. Like
really?
Well, like not. I guess what? Because I'm on KHD. Am I on a show that has done it?
Wait,
like
no,
this?
you're on
so
all
far
the shows.
Well, Bless so far I think has only been on embargoed review pre-recorded podcasts.
Has Gamescast, have all the Gamescast been embargoed this year too?
I
guess
think
it was.
So.
Was there Fantasy Critic?
Fantasy Critic is
live,
the only
yeah.
one that we've done live.
So
So
the
yeah, you would have had the
idea
two
is-
chats.
The way it works, is like, so now that we, of course, in 2024, this sounds like such an ad for the KindaFunny membership that we just said we'll talk about later. Anyways, it's on Patreon, it's on YouTube, but the way that works is you can't share that link. So the YouTube members get their own link, the Patreon members get their own link, and never shall the two meet. So I can talk to Ryan Povale Higgins, but then Saltwater Cowboy never knows what's happening.
I do like Ryan in the left chat. It says, "Hey, Bless" in this chat, but then Ben Loblick says, "We're the cool chat."
I don't know who's cool. I'm not
Have we tried starting chat wars? Has that been a thing that we've tried?
No, because you'll see a lot of them hop over. See, Ryan Povale Higgins just popped up on the other one.
Oh, shit. I was going to start some chat wars.
KindaFunny best friends and KindaFunny trogs like yourself.
I mean, Mr. Hawk says YouTube chat sucks. That's what I'm saying. I'm on Patreon chat side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because they're both YouTube chats, technically.
Yeah, but Patreon chat on the left.
Sure, fair enough.
That's where
I
the cool
appreciate
people
that.
are.
I appreciate that.
The fucking YouTube chat kids.
It did go through earlier, and it's gone now because we're now engaging with the chat as we should. Congratulations on that. But they did say, did Greg and Blessing plan the look? Because we are in our red era.
Yeah.
It is our red
We're
album.
rocking
Here,
our,
you know
our
what I
red,
mean?
yeah.
I appreciate
red
that.
album.
Yeah.
That's a reference to which artist?
Taylor Swift.
Weezer.
Taylor Swift. Well, no, Weezer had a red album too. You're right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm more familiar with the Black album. That's
From Weezer?
Jay-Z. No, did Weezer have a Black album?
They did a black album too.
Did they go through all the colors?
Not all the colors yet,
Purple
but they're
album?
working their way.
Okay.
And the blue album is the most popular.
That was their definitive one.
Yeah.
Then they got they got, let's be artsy fartsy with Pinkerton, which I love. My favorite my favorite Weezer album.
Yeah.
Then that, broke Rivers' heart. He didn't make music for forever. Then came back with the Green album. Then again, they did Maladroit, right? They tried, or maybe Make Believe. They did a couple, and then they're like, you know what? Red album.
Yeah.
Black and White album. That stuff.
Good for them.
Yeah.
I like that. Like a good theme throughout the albums.
I'm with you. I wish they would just commit to it.
Yeah.
It would have been great if they just did that the entire time. I digress. Your PSN message isn't about Weezer and is about us being in red shirts. Instead, the PSN message comes from Kevin Osborn, who wrote in, just like you can, to be part of the show at kindafunny.com/PSILY. Kevin Osborn says, why is no one talking about Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden? This game looks awesome. It's being developed by Don't Nod. Where's the love? This is one of my most anticipated games of the year.
This comes back to a thing I say about Square Enix that I think is starting to apply to Don't Nod, where Don't Nod just be making games.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to be good Don't Nod or like okay Don't Nod, right? Like we've had or bad Don't Nod, because that exists too. Like we've had over the years, Tell Me Why came out, right? And like a lot of people were like, yo, this is pretty cool. But then they had that game Twin Mirror, which is the one I was looking forward to.
Is this the first trailer that I had on the doc?
No, I just looked up the story trailer that came out earlier today.
Oh, there's another one today. Jesus Christ. I want to do a let's react to the gameplay reveal trailer, but this looks dope.
Because like I remember Banishers being announced and being like, oh wow, Don't Nod's making an action RPG. But then I'm like, well, they made Vampire, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I just associate them with Life is Strange.
Yeah. And then what was the one they did that we all hated?
Twin Mirror.
Yeah. Nobody liked that one.
And so like and they also made Jasant late last year.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of people love Jasant. And so yeah, they just have they have this ability to make these games that are wildly different.
Yeah.
But yeah, Banishers is one that I've not known how to read, and I think the only trailer I've seen for it, or I remember seeing the first trailer for it. I think they had another trailer at Game Awards. But also, it's that thing where I'm like, I don't even know what this game is.
And it got delayed, and it did all this different stuff. So that was the thing. Kevin wrote in, and I was like, hey, why is no one talking about Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden? Mm-hmm. And I said, what the fuck is that? And so I had to Google it. And then I'm like, oh, I vaguely remember this. It's something we were watching live reacting to. And then I looked into it, and it had gotten close, and it was going to come out in November, and it got delayed. This, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. And I'm with you of like, Don't Nod does so much. Is this the business? Is this the good stuff? I went and looked at it. I think it's the good stuff.
Oh, okay.
So what is it? And I'm pulling their official description, of course. You play a couple of Banishers, Antia Duarte and Red Mac Wraith. Experienced spirit hunters sent to New Eden to lift a mysterious curse and solve haunting cases. The immersive and poignant narrative-driven action RPG where you hunt and battle supernatural threats to alter a tragic fate reveals itself in an in-depth new gameplay trailer. I stole it from their YouTube thing. One of the lines in this we're about to watch is, life to the living, death to the dead. And dude, this fucking, like, I was like, what a Greg Miller-ass game. Hold on a second.
Did you play Vampire?
I started. I didn't dig. I didn't buy it.
I know some people that really, really dig Vampire.
Yeah, that's how it was.
It's cool as hell.
Huh?
It's cool as hell.
It was either you were super all in or it was like, it didn't hit for me. Can we watch with sound and do a react here to the gameplay reveal trailer that I put on here? I want to eventually talk over the B-roll. Here, this is perfect.
Yeah, I very much remember this.
I don't.
Life to the living, death to the dead.
Fuck yeah. Audio listeners, we'll talk over to try to describe what you're seeing. Of course, like a medieval-looking little village here. Got some gothic shit.
We are banishers.
It was the ghosts that might have been of New Eden. I don't know.
Who live.
We got ghosts in New Eden. We got monsters in New Eden.
We bring closure to those who don't. I want
Here's the
us
gameplay
back,
itself.
Yeah, some cool action.
I read some previews. They were describing it in God of War.
revenge on what killed me.
Looks good.
Yeah, got somebody shooting a gun and
I
then
want to
zap it.
live.
Demon dogs.
As the man says, we face a choice, simple and awful.
See.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got like the choices that you're making.
Death to the dead.
After letting death.
So is he choosing to let people live or die? Is that what's going on here?
So
Together again.
again, I looked into it. This is the trailer we're watching that gives you the layout of the story, obviously, and then I have B-roll to talk over the gameplay overview that gave me more on it. So the idea here is, and no spoilers because it's the very premise of the game. So I guess it's a spoiler, but it's literally what you would know if you looked into it at all, right? Red here and his wife, right, are these spirit hunters. They're out there doing the thing, yada, yada. Their whole thing is life to living, death to the dead, right? We're gonna banish these spirits, send them where they need to be. That's the job. They're Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
However, she gets killed at the onset of the game, and then her spirit form is with you, as you saw jumping back and forth between gameplay. You're playing as both of them. Or whatever. So you're left in this conundrum of being Red and like, well, I want to be with my wife, but she's now the thing I swore to destroy. And so it's this journey as you go through of you run into similar situations there where it's like, do I sacrifice this ghost to make, I think, them stronger or herself stronger? Again, if you go to the gameplay overview, we're still going to talk over it, Barrett, but there's more in there. It's taking the action RPG-ness of action RPGs, but then putting the don't knob choices in there.
Yeah.
Where you're making decisions that influence the story, that go through and do this. Like, I think that's a brilliant concept. I'm shocked that as I'm so Greg Miller about games like this, that this slipped by me that long. But again, with the delay and getting pushed around and yada, 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 like, fuck yeah. This sounds awesome. If you're an audio listener and you're not watching it, I think it visually looks good. It does look, I think, stiff in places in terms of like, I don't think this is a 9 out of 10 we're getting, right? I said 9 out of 9. I don't know who's on a 9 point.
It doesn't look like the most AAA of games.
But it also doesn't need to, right?
Yeah.
And that's back to the point of what you're saying about how many games Don't Nod is making. Like, we talk all the time that we want shorter experiences, quicker games. I want devs to experiment and do things. We're always talking about how we want new fucking ideas in games and new IPs and stuff like that. Like, I think it's hard to make ghost hunting fighting games sometimes, as we've seen with Murdered Soul Suspect and all these other things. But like, this sounds really cool. And I'm hopeful that it actually is. I'm going to be heartbroken if this comes out and it is, oh, this is a 6.
Yeah.
No, it's a flat 7. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
you can swim in 7s or whatever.
It strikes me as like a successor type situation of Vampire, because like even when I hear about people saying Vampire, right, is like the idea of like, Barrett, correct me if I'm wrong, like the character that you're playing as is also like a doctor, and he's like conflicted about wanting to
he gets turned into a vampire, and so
Yeah.
it is the idea of like, oh shit, I'm a vampire, how do I feed, what do I do?
Yeah, exactly.
And
You're
a
making
lot
choices.
of that, a lot of that is like making the choices of like, do I sacrifice this member of this community? How is that going to affect the community at large? And so like maybe you're helping deteriorate the community that you're living in and you were from, but then you're also like getting cool vampire powers and shit. So it's a lot of like that same sort of like, what choices are you making that are going to affect either gameplay or the world at large? I'm
about it. I think it looks cool. Until like,
Combat looks fun. Like again, they saw right there, Red's doing a bunch of stuff, and then the ghost jumps in or whatever to fight with him. I think from what I've seen, I watch this and it's that thing where I watch it and I kind of then like, okay, cool. I don't want to know too much. Like, so I think you get to play as her. I think you're hopping around. You're doing your choices for what your character is going to feel like and play like, let alone choices narratively in the story.
I will say,
you grin. You're doing that little grin there as you see.
This is the tagline of "Life to the living, death to the." It's not hidden from me,
dude. I think that hits
life
so
to
good
the living,
for me.
death to the dead. That's like some my friend. I had a friend in high school. Oh fuck, what was his name? I forget his name.
Addison.
No, it wasn't Addison. It was like one of the goth dudes, and I could see him getting like a tattoo.
What I
Life
like
to the
about
living,
it, and
death to the
again,
dead.
like we're talking over the trailers, but me watching them and like doing this whole gameplay overview they did, like it. The way he said it in the first time he says it in one of the trailers is with her and she's alive, and they're like about to open a door and go in there, and so I like it as like this is our mission.
Yeah,
we're protecting life for the living. We're because I'm sure the ghosts they're all sent into hell or whatever they're doing aren't all bad, but you can't be here, so we got to get rid of you no matter what the sob story is. That's my vibe on it. And
I guess that makes sense.
Then I love the conflict of it of, oh well, my wife is dead, but she's with me, so this
is my code, and the game is essentially about me breaking it. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks really, really cool. Do you know when this is coming out? Does this have a date?
Yes.
2.5 weeks.
We do.
Oh shit.
19 days from now, it says on my game tracker that I just added as I want to play this.
Oh, look at that! I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Why does that have to come out right now? There's so many video games that are coming out right now.
Oh, let's pivot off of that to topic of the show.
Barrett, can I ask for a favor?
What's up?
At some point during the show, it doesn't have to be immediate. I realized that I never put away my PlayStation Pulse earbuds. I never put them in
Bring
my
them the case.
Yeah, and I don't want them to die. And so if at some point you can get the case off my desk so I can put these things back in, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to thank Kevin Osborn for writing in about Banishers, of course, keeping us honest when there's cool games that I somehow miss and don't know what's going on with. I like that quite a bit. But you said, why does it have to come out now? Which leads us to our topic of the show. Of course, 2023 is in the rear view. 2024 is upon us, and we're guns blazing, all in, pedal to the metal, whatever tired analogy you want to roll out for where we are right now. But a young man wrote in to PS I Love You XOXO on Slack on the PS I Love You channel. Blessing said, I think with Yakuza, Prince of Persia, The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, and Tekken, we've given every major game of the year this year a 5 so far. We could talk about whether this year is primed to be another GOAT year. Mm-hmm. And I loved that idea, not only as an overall Gamescast thing, but then to bring it to PS I Love You and talk about if you, this is something, you know, we've done on another show where Tim has done it and they've presented things. I think Andy did maybe as if you could take what you know about the Chicago Bulls from their entire lineage, would you want that team or the new trail that we're about to go off of on the Warriors or whoever? You understand the unlimited potential they have. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's interesting with 2023 in the rear view, 2024 upon us, but also just starting. It is an interesting conversation. Would you, if you had to just take the PlayStation 5 library from 2023 or 2024 and everything that'll come out this year, even though we don't know a lot of it or all of it?
And we're talking about just the PlayStation 5.
We're bringing this
library.
just to PlayStation 5.
Just
well,
PlayStation.
I mean, I include PlayStation VR in that.
Of course. Okay.
Just make sure. Yeah.
Because I think for me, a big part of what made 2023 special was like just gaming in general. Like we look over to what Nintendo's doing and also Xbox and PC.
Yeah, you can't bring Zelda in. That has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. So I'm looking at just PlayStation.
Conversation podcast.
I'm not. Honestly, I know we decided this is topic of the show. Like I think last night when you sent the Slack of like, hey, with this is what we're gonna do. I've not thought too hard about the topic. Yeah. Like I wanted to come in here with a clear mind and like actually talk it through, because as I look through,
and Chad, I want a lot of you popping off in there too about this.
I remember, I think early on last year, I remember saying that 2023 was a down year for PlayStation Studios, and I think I still stand by it, but specifically for PlayStation Studios in particular. Not for like PlayStation, because I think when you look at Final Fantasy 16, when you look at third party Baldur's Gate 3, like a bunch of other games that came to PlayStation, I think overall it was a great year. But the only PlayStation Studios titles we really got in 2023 were Horizon Call of the Mountain, which was fine. We got Horizon Burning Shores, which was cool, and like we all really enjoyed, but also it's DLC. And then we got Spider-Man 2, which of course everybody loves Spider-Man 2. But beyond that, I think PlayStation Studios wise, it's like, all right, I think there was a bit more to be desired, at least in my eyes. But I understand.
But do you think that's going to be fulfilled in 2024?
Possibly. Like we go down the list of PlayStation Studios. Oh, also I should shout out God of War Valhalla, because we got that.
We did. Great call.
God of War Valhalla. But yeah, I look through to this year, and you know, it is Helldivers, it is Rise of the Ronin, which I know isn't a PlayStation Studios developed, but it is like published by PlayStation Studios.
You gotta toss in Rebirth then too.
I mean, Rebirth isn't published by PlayStation,
but it's a console exclusive, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about PlayStation Studios.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But also like on the exclusive side, yeah, like FF7 Rebirth, and I think that's kind of like blow for blow with an FF16.
Sure.
And so I think those almost cancel each other out. But I do think that there's good potential for more to come from PlayStation Studios. Like I'd be surprised if we don't get 1 or 2 games landing this year. And I would think I know Stellar Blade is a potential one. We don't know how good or not good or okay that's going to be. Yeah. But I want to have that up there in the ether. I still think there's a good chance of Death Stranding too. I don't know if you've seen those rumors.
Yeah, the beach.
Yeah, on the beach. I feel like that's a good sign of, oh man, that game might not be that far away.
Yeah, I agree with that 100% too.
Yeah.
So are you trying to keep it just to exclusives? Because I'm not.
Okay.
I'm saying you're like my list, the games I listed here for as refreshers, right? I put 2023, you know, top of the line: Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Street Fighter 6, Final Fantasy 16, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Diablo 4, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4, Alan Wake 2, PSVR 2, even though I wrote 3, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Cocoon, Sea of Stars, Lies of P, and then for me WWE 2K23.
And then Blessing added on there Horizon Burning Shores and God of War Valhalla as 2 others.
Yeah.
As like big ones.
And again, this isn't meant to be comprehensive. I was just trying to give a launch pad for conversation.
Yeah.
2024, what I've put on there, right? Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Prince of Persia. What's the subtitle on it? I forget every time.
The Lost Crown.
Thank you. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Tekken 8. Helldivers 2, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Rise of the Ronin, Dragon's Dogma 2, Star Wars Outlaws, Persona 3 Reload, Banishers, which we're excited about now. I put, for my own edification, Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, WWE 2K24, Visions of Mana, Elden Ring's DLC, Another Crab's Treasure. Again, not comprehensive. Chat, shout out the games we're forgetting from both years.
Yeah.
Make sure you tell me which year you're
A couple more for this year, right? Stellar Blade and Metaphor ReFantasio. I think Barrett might have added that. So yeah, I will. Okay, so you're talking about the entire scope of games coming to PlayStation.
I think the conversation that spurned from you on Slack in my mind, right, is this, already gonna be another GOAT year or whatever, is basically if you had to go to a desert island at the end of 2025 with either, or 2024, with either the 2023 lineup of PlayStation 5, 2023 game library of PlayStation 5, or the 2024 game library. Hypothetical, because again, we don't know.
I'm going to start off saying 2023 is my answer. Just because I think when we look at the full package of 2023, it is a pretty incredible year. Like, it's really hard to argue against Baldur's Gate 3, and Spider-Man 2, and like all the games that we did get, right? Cocoon and a lot of stuff we love. But on the side of what we have coming up this year, I think for where we're at, like we're coming off of, when we talk about kind of funny reviews, multiple 5 out of 5s, and I look into the scope of games that are about to come out in the next month, and I think that trend is going to continue, right? Like most games that have come out so far, we've given 5 out of 5s. Persona 3 Reload, I think, is probably going to be an incredible game that we end up giving a 5 out of 5 because it's going to be more Persona 3. What was the other game that was Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is going to be another 5 out of 5. And already you're talking about what, 6 or 7?
Don't forget Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, of course we got Suicide Squad. But you're already talking about 6 or 7 5s for games that are all coming out on PlayStation in the first 2 months of this year, compared to how many by this time last year. Like, I don't feel like last year had this kind of cadence. There were seasons. I remember playing through seasons, and that was like the one game where I was like, okay, cool. Like, I played this. It's a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, you say that. You say that. Hold on, because I'll throw it open. Of like, right now we are on a banger fucking start to this year, and it's not stopping anytime soon. Because I've gone through and I schedule out games headlines and content and plans, reviews and stuff like that. And so it is this thing where, to your point of like, wait, we have 2 chats because you've been on so many embargoed things that doesn't end, right? Next week, right now, I have a preview and 2 reviews that'll be leading. When I say, and obviously I'm talking about Gamescast, Xcast, PS I Love You, right? And then you get the week after that, I have 2 reviews and then 1 open headline right now. Week after that, 2 reviews, 1 open headline, right? And keep in mind the amount of games and number of games that are coming out. So it's like when you review one thing, you just have to ignore stuff others. But then you get into, and everybody stick with me, all right? You know who I am. You know the kind of fucking games I can't wait for. So for me, Open Roads is a game that is like a must-play I can't wait. But the week of the 19th, I have Open Roads on the 22nd, Pacific Drive on the 22nd, and I always say this word wrong, I'm sorry. Last Epoch on the 21st. So it's like, and these are release dates. That's a week where it's like, that's a seasons week. Yeah. That's where you can finally get a breath and play a new indie and see if it's actually something you want, right? And then you look after that, the 29th is Final Fantasy Rebirth, then Outlast Trials on March 5th, WWE 2K24 on March 8th, then March 11th right now, nothing. Then week of the March 18th, you have Dragon's Dogma on the 22nd, not applicable to this show, but Princess Peach Showtime on the 22nd.
Did you mention Unicorn Overlord? Was that one you mentioned?
I did not. I do not have that currently on here as something we're keeping our eye out for.
Gotcha. Yeah, add Unicorn Overlord.
Do you know what days it come out?
March 8th. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, okay.
I'm using Blessing Super Fun Game release calendar.
I appreciate that.
Definitive calendar. Okay. As we go through the motions here, and as I think,
is that coming to PlayStation 5?
Yes,
I believe so. Yeah.
Then it is going to be the week of March 4th. That will be the review for PS I Love You.
I don't know if I can promise I'm going to have that game done. I think that's going to be a longer game.
Sure.
I mean, listen.
I've already written in and I've hit enter.
Oh, God. Wait, actually, that's the week after Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
It is. You did this to yourself.
Sorry, Blessing. You can't play Final Fantasy.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Unicorn Overload review parentheses so far.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah.
I want to play this one too for a little bit, so I'll be able to talk to you about it. Actually, it's WWE week. I won't be able to play this shit. Get your little fucking nerdy shit out of here. I gotta get into my goddamn casket matches.
We're getting the
special refs.
We're getting the casket matches. I mean, going through the potential of 2024, I feel like we go through this every year where very early on in the year, we look down the barrel of, okay, what's coming up? And it always feels somewhat empty in terms of the second half of the year even, or even like what the fall. What the fall looks like, or even what like late spring looks like. Right now, when I got Blessing Super Fun Game release calendar pulled up, already August, we're talking about Black Myth Wukong coming out, which seems like it has the potential to be a really huge game if it lives up to what people's expectations are.
How high are your expectations, though? Do you think it'll live up to them?
It's so tough because we've not gotten a game from that studio. Everything that they're showing looks incredible, and I mean they're it seems like they have a lot of money to fund this game, and it seems like, everything that they're saying about it and showing off about it seems incredible, but it's also just tough for me to believe. That's where I'm at with it. Is like I got hopes for it. Like I hope that if it ends up being what they're showing off, that I'm like, okay, then that's gonna be a fucking incredible game. But I don't know. Like so, I wish we had like more preview impressions. Like I wish we had more people actually talking about their experience with it to actually listen to. But I think it has potential. I think there's a lot of hype from it coming off the Game Awards trailer. A lot of people were excited, but yeah, I'm just in a place where I'm like, I want to believe, but I don't know if I can or not yet.
Yeah.
But there's that, and so like I
think what's interesting about the experiment and the conversation is that when you asked it in chat, right? And I immediately was like, oh, that's kind of stupid, right? Because 2023 was such a great year. And then you look at the games we're getting, I'm like, oh, wait, hold on a second now.
Yeah.
But I think, and this will sound possibly crazy, I think for what and it's obviously a known quantity, but for 2023, the games that wowed us and were Game of the Year candidates for the most part were big names. I feel like that's what I don't see in 2024 yet. And that doesn't matter. Honestly, I think if I was to vote, I might vote 2024 because of the unlimited potential and you don't know what you're going to get. And I am excited for something like the Unicorn game, like Banishers, like these things that I'm not expecting or wasn't going for. Whereas like when you look at 2023, and this is a bit of a revisionist history, I'll tell you on my own thing, but I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 being what it was, but being such a juggernaut, Spider-Man 2, Street Fighter 6, Final Fantasy 16, Jedi, Diablo, like those were brands and IPs and names that came with so much expectation. Whereas like when you get here and you're talking about like, oh man, we've given out all these 5 out of 5s. We have amazing year so far for the games, amazing games out there, right? But Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is a game that I think speaks to a very specific person and audience, right? Prince of Persia, I think, speaks to a very specific audience and person. Tekken 8, very specific audience and person. Last of Us Part 2, I wouldn't have even thought about it. I would have, but for this assessment. Yeah. But you brought it up. I'm like, oh, right, that makes sense. Toss it in there. But even Helldivers 2, right? Which, where's my code? But even Helldivers 2, right? Where it's like, I loved Helldivers 1, and everything we've heard and seen about it looks like this is that in a different perspective. That's going to be a very specific game for a very specific audience. Like I'll be fascinated to see. Oh man, I'm gonna boot this. I just got crushed by my own thing. Oh, I got shot by my own turret. Oh, all the things that like makes Helldivers. How that would play to a general audience. Yeah, like that. And so you get into, I think 2023 might have had more star power, more main eventers on paper, where 2024 might be the more diverse. Hey, look at the rainbow and shades of color we have here, and these games are all awesome.
Yeah, which is honestly for me more preferred in a lot of ways. You know, like Spider-Man 2, I'll take a Spider-Man 2 anytime. But at the same time, I'm like, I've played plenty of Spider-Man 2s in my life. Yeah. Whereas like if you show me a game that I've not either heard of before, or a game that is super like different or unique, or something that is like here's another Death Stranding, and I have no idea what the fuck is Death Stranding 2 is going to end up being, right? Like that's something that excites me on another level. It's not going to excite everybody. Same with Tekken 8, where Tekken 8 is such a me game because I grew up playing Tekken and I grew up playing these different fighting games. And so when you put out something that is, here is, I totally forgot that the Tekken 8 embargo is up. So I'm like, wait, am I fucking breaking embargo right now? But yeah, here's like,
isn't that terrifying when you have that loaded information? Like, can I say what?
I'm like, am I saying something I can say?
Did they know that happened?
But when you put out something that, and I would say is like the definitive version of what this thing can be, and I'm playing through it, and I'm like, this is such a, me experience. This is such a thing that I am vibing with, that I know is going to vibe for everybody, but hits for me on a 5 out of 5 level. Yeah. I guess I blow up more for more of those, as opposed to like, here's games that everybody plays. Here's a new big Final Fantasy. Here's a new big Spider-Man. Here's a new big whatever it is.
And not that this is in line with the point you're making and why I like stuff like this as well. I think right now to sit here and predict what the Game Awards Game of the Year 5 or 6 will be is way more difficult than it was a year ago to sit here and be like, what? Well, you knew Zelda's going to be there. Okay, Spider-Man will probably be there. You know what I mean? Unless it got, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think Alan Wake caught people off guard for sure. Definitely Baldur's Gate did, unless you'd been, ear to the ground, early access the entire time, right? But like, the fact that Cocoon was able to make the inroads it did, right? Especially at DICE Awards and now at Game Awards and yada, yada, yada. Like, I feel like this year will probably have more space for games like Cocoon to come through and do it.
Yeah.
Even though you could sit here and go, well, I do expect, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Star Wars Outlaws. I don't know if I expect it to be game of the year, but I expect it to be a super fun game.
Yeah.
Barrett pops up. Barrett hates this game. I don't know if you guys know this. Barrett's a fake Star Wars fan. Always
Yeah,
has
I
been.
really hate Star Wars. I just hate everything.
He liked
about
Bad
it.
Bitch.
But like,
That was
wait, what'd you say?
You call it bad bitch?
I did. Isn't it the most Star Wars fan thing to hate Star Wars?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to be clear because I remember talking about a lot of shit about that game when we were drafting it and we were trying to figure out counter picks and stuff. I like the vibe and the story that they're going for in Star Wars, and that's the stuff that I care about the most. It's just like the gameplay side of it. It brought me back to the first Guardians of the Galaxy trailer that we saw, where it was like, oh, this is a cool vibe, and then like it's different enough from like the MCU Guardian stuff, but like, oh man, that gameplay, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Interesting.
I want to bring in two chats, right? You'll Call Me Rob says, Bless talking like Spider-Man 2 level games just come out every year. They do. Like Insomniac literally has released like a game every year. But then also, where to go? No Man's Skywalker, which is a great username, says it's still really early. This time last year, no one expected Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Wake 2 to be Game of the Year contenders, and that's the point I wanted to inject for a little bit. Is like. This time last year, we didn't realize Baldur's Gate 3 was going to be Baldur's Gate 3. We didn't realize Alan Wake 2 was going to be Alan Wake 2. I think the only expectations really had were that like Zelda was going to be Zelda and Spider-Man was going to be Spider-Man. And like that's about it.
So my thing of running down the list that we have, and we can bring up the Game Awards, Game Informer list too, or for more stuff if we needed to.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you look at this, I don't feel I look at this and I'm like, oh, there's the Zelda, there's the Spider-Man, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth again, I guess. But even that, I could argue myself if you wanted of like, well, now they're in uncharted territory, kind of, right, with how they left that story and where they're going with it. And so, are they actually going to deliver on that? Are they going to piss people off? Is it going to be too samey to what we saw in Remake?
I think that comes down to taste a lot, because like I think the excitement for a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth compares to the excitement for Spider-Man 2. Obviously, like again, different strokes for different folks, different kinds of games. But I would say those are hit on a similar level. I think in terms of like the Tears of the Kingdom situation, like I don't think there is one game this year that feels like it is the game changer.
It's the lock. It's the definitive.
Yeah,
that's gonna be
but I think that could just arise. I think that could be oh man, we didn't realize how good Metaphor ReFantasio was, or like we didn't realize how good
Elden Ring
Rise
DLC,
of the Ronin.
right?
Elden Ring DLC I think has the potential to capture it.
And that would be super fun, because I always love when people want to argue that DLC can't be a game of the year. So I would love if Shadow of the Erd Tree was fucking phenomenal, and everybody's like, well, fuck.
There's also Hollow Knight Silksong that probably could come out
How
this
many
year.
years can that be? Yeah.
I feel like this is the one.
Jest states, the more I'm like, oof, that just leads to disappointment.
Yeah. I'm also just looking at when we bring in Zelda into it, we're talking about outside PlayStation, right?
But again, I think for the argument of the game that is clearly that's going to be there.
But I think that'll be there at Switch launch. If Switch 2 launches this year, like I would assume that it's going to launch with like a 3D Mario or something that's going to have that kind of impact. But yeah, I mean, talking about PlayStation, I think there is so much limitless potential. I think when you look at, I'm on the Fantasy Critic to see like what were all of our top picks, and I'm like, yeah, Black Myth Wukong could have that potential. Earthblade, which is the game coming from the Celeste developer, I think could have that potential. Hollow Knight, like I mentioned, I mean, I know we just talked about Star Wars Outlaws, but like if that comes through and it surprises, I don't know if it's gonna be like a Tears of the Kingdom, but I think that could be oh snap, like this is coming through and being one of the big games of the year that we all love and enjoy. I think this year has the potential to have a lot of that, but then on top of that, like some surprises that could have that Baldur's Gate 3 effect.
As I look through all the reviews we're doing, you look through everything coming out and stuff, it gets me excited because, again, like, I just like there being room for these games to breathe to a degree. And I know that with 3 reviews a week, it seems, on most of these cadences, right, that there actually isn't room to breathe, but there is in the way of, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I look at it and I go, that looks awesome. It's not my type of deal. I'm Yakuza'd in Like a Dragon out, but I'm glad it's there. I respect what it is, and I don't need to go play that. Whereas I feel like 2023 had a bunch of games that were, holy shit, this game's fucking awesome, and it's, I hate saying that, but mainstream. It's median, it's middle of the road, not in terms of quality, but in the terms of everybody can find something that they like in that. And I know that's not true either, but you understand the argument I'm making that these were more, again, I guess AAA blockbuster types, and that's not even that's not accurate. But I think I'm making my point fairly enough. Of like, I feel like there's more. Oh, that's my kind of shit, and I know that's not your shit. And it's not Barrett's, and Barrett's isn't mine.
That was definitely a thing I identified last year, where when I made my top 10 for last year, like 8 out of 10 of my games were on our top 10 list.
Yeah.
And that's not because I'm like, oh, I gotta make sure that I am agreeing with everybody. It's more so like, yeah, dude, like there's like a lot of games that are very obviously incredible to me that I think we all kind of hold hands on and agree on. But like, I almost wish that I was able to identify more Venbas last year or more Before Your Eyes last year.
Because I tell you about Venba,
I wish more people would like
somebody else
be
says,
vocal
hey,
about
Venba's
games
great.
like Venba and Before Your Eyes and like.
I mean,
beyond these
I feel like
games.
someone who was previously on the show talked about Before Your Eyes when it came out back in 2021. You know,
I feel like I talked about Sea of Stars, then Barrett started playing Sea of Stars, and then he gets all the credit for talking about Sea of Stars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like that game is boring though. You know? God,
Boring.
fellas.
I mean, Carl, get out of here.
Sea of Sleep. Sleep in the stars. Got his ass. No, that game's actually pretty good. Shout out to the
Cameron
developers.
Kennedy says, right now my expectation is Final Fantasy Rebirth or a non-AAA title wins KindaFunny's Game of the Year this year. I know we're expanding a bit outside of our initial concept here, but talking about 2024, it doesn't have to be PlayStation. Do you think that's accurate?
That an indie game or
Final Fantasy
non-mainstream?
VII Remake or a non-AAA game wins it.
Wait, say that thing again. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or a lumping those in the same thing, or is it like an either or?
It's either Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will win or a
Like an
non-AAA
indie-
Oh,
game
I
will
see
win.
what you're saying.
I don't think that'll be the case.
If Switch 2 happens and there is a Super Mario, there is a Metroid, there is a whatever.
This reminds
me of a shakeup.
This reminds me of like the month before Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was about to come out, and a lot of us were kind of like, oh yeah, it's like another Zelda. We're about to get more Zelda, and like there wasn't really the palpable excitement, but then Zelda comes out and we're all fucking blown away.
Yeah.
This is how I feel about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth right now.
Yeah.
Because Final Fantasy VII Remake, when that came out, was such a moment and such a cool thing, and we were all, well, for the most part, we're all in love with it, right? Like there was this
I think
level of
we all were.
impact.
Were there?
Yeah, I mean, well, now when I say for the most part, I'm also like lumping the fan base in there as well.
Got it.
Yeah, I was the one outspoken person about it. But.
Yeah. But like there was this impact that it had when it dropped. And I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is probably going to do that same thing, if not more, because it seems like they're assumedly going open world with it, adding in like a bunch more stuff. Like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I think is going to be like the early year game that's going to have like that type of impact. And I feel like we're almost, I guess we don't feel that way, right? Because like we're on the precipice of it, and also it feels like we're just coming off of 7 remakes, and so maybe there's not as
See, I'm the opposite of it. Where, well, I'm with you that like I am not. Oh my god, I can't wait for Final Fantasy VII.
'Cause I'm in that same boat too.
But it's that thing of like I did adore Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it was my first Final Fantasy that I rolled credits on. Like I fucking had a great time with it. But for some reason, it doesn't feel like that just happened. It almost feels like that happened in a parallel dimension, where it's like, oh man, I really enjoyed that, and like I can think of Barrett and Tifa and Jesse, of course, in the relate, but like what happened at the end there, and and it's one of those games that I'm like, I should really replay that, and there is absolutely no time for me to do that. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to watch a Final Fantasy remake in 7 minutes or whatever the fuck it is. I think they're still doing that.
Yeah.
But I you just mentioned I've done pretty much media blackout of it, except for when we have to react to trailers. You're saying that it's more open world? It is open world? Like, because that was a big thing with Remake, right? That it took a while to get to like, okay, now you can go choose what you want to go do.
Yeah, I mean, well, I assume open world, one, because the trailers have just made
Just
the
what
game
they showed there. Where
yeah,
it's like
it
huge.
seems like it looks more open, and then also just where it's at in the Final Fantasy VII story.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake ended in a place where they're at that point chronologically in the story, you would step out of Midgar and then like go into the open world.
Yeah,
And so-
that was essentially like it's not a 1-to-1, but like the vault moment of like, oh shit, this is how big this
like we're
game
gonna,
really is and all that stuff. So
Okay,
yeah, that was
fair enough.
That's
fair
where
enough.
we're kind of starting off in Rebirth.
And so yeah, like I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth does have a good chance at winning our Game of the Year, especially because Final Fantasy VII Remake won our Game of the Year that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, either that or like a non-AAA title.
See, and that's what's interesting when you talk about this, and we look at PlayStation 5's year, right? Final Fantasy VII Remake winning, Ratchet and Clank winning back in the day, right? Those were both ones that caught us off guard, right? Because for most of us, and Barrett I know is the stat keeper on all of it, but for most of us, it wasn't our number one. It was high, and it was there in the middle. It was high. We enjoyed those games, but all of us had games we connected with more, right? But it was such a fragmented year where it wasn't everybody connected with Zelda, everybody connected with this. It was that we all had a year like this where there were so many interesting standouts in 5 out of 5s that it was like, oh, I love that. But that meant that I'm the only one really championing it to get it up that list.
And I want to be clear when I say no shot to the Final Fantasy Rebirth or a non-AAA game, I mean more of the non-AAA game side. Like, I think there's a good chance that Rebirth could get Kinda Funny's Game of the Year. If it's not, I think it's going to be another big game, like another AAA game. I don't know if
WWE 2K24.
I think it could be special if there is like either a Celeste or Hades type game that comes out that strikes us in that way. Like Animal Well, when people were playing that at I think it was Summer Game Fest, or maybe it was a Day of the Devs type situation. I remember hearing like a lot of glowing things. And on our list of like our fantasy critic games that we picked up, there seems to be a lot of just cool looking indies that are about to come out. And I think any one of these could be the one that hits like a Celeste or hits like a Hades. And I think if we have one of those, for sure, I think there's a good chance against the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth of getting in there. But it has to be like a strong one of those.
Oh, 100%. And it's got to appeal outside of, genre, right? That's what I think was so special about Celeste, is that I am not that platformer. I want to do this. I want to go, but like I couldn't put Celeste down. And then on top of that, Celeste did such a great job of like, this is the screen. Just get past this screen.
Yeah.
Okay, you did. Now you're at a checkpoint. You're at a save point. Let alone obviously all the accessibility stuff they had in there of put on God mode, do whatever, slow down jumps. We don't care. We want you to enjoy the game and play the game. Like that's why that worked for me. Whereas like Prince of Persia is another one I have looked at, but I've been playing other things. And so I look at him like, even Tim's like, this isn't your kind of game. Yeah. This isn't what you'd want. I'm like, okay.
I mean, I think a Plucky Squire could be the one, right? I think there's a handful of games that are like that look special that could come out this year.
That's the funny thing too, is, I have on here a game that I'm excited about, but I shouldn't be based on everything else, but Another Crab's Treasure. Where, is like, they're very much like it's fucking Dark Souls, but you're a crab, right? And I think it's an indie and it's going to be cute and whatever. But even the demos I've done of it, I've done well in it and I've enjoyed myself in it and I enjoy that world. Yeah. That can maintain throughout. Not that I think it's going to be Game of the Year necessarily.
To the conversation of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as well, again, bringing in other platforms into it, I also think that there's an equal chance of Hellblade 2 being in the conversation and then also Indiana Jones being in the conversation. I think especially Indiana Jones, if you want to talk about a blockbuster game that probably all of us are going to play and that we're looking forward to and looks really quality. Yeah. I think you're putting those in the competition as well. I think the question is, are any of these games on the AAA level going to reach that like 10 out of 10 Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom type, critical reception, or is there an indie game that's gonna fucking like blow through the ceiling and surprise us?
I would love for an indie game to blow through the ceiling and surprise us. But I just feel like that's so hard.
It just happens at unexpected times. Is the thing for me.
That's true.
Because I know Baldur's Gate 3, I guess, technically indie, but also hundreds of people work on that team, so it's not really. But yeah, like that's one that caught a lot of people off guard, even though that studio has made incredible games in the past.
Of course.
Hades, another one, caught people off guard, even though that studio's made incredible games in the past. Celeste, they made Towerfall in the past, I believe. That's right. Yeah, like, I look at this list, the games that I mentioned, right? Plucky Squire, there's Penny's Big Breakaway, which was made by the people that worked on Sonic Mania. One of these teams is waiting on this, like on the sidelines right now, and being like, "Yo, like we made something in the past that was really good, and now we're gonna make something that's really special, and we just don't know it yet."
Sam G is watching live on the Kinda Funny membership feeds and says, "Isn't there a state of play soon? Are there other shows in the next few months we could get more previews?" Sam, that's a great question, and I'm glad you answered it because, of course, you have the Kinda Funny membership. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, you can get the Kinda Funny membership on youtube.com/kindafunnygames or patreon.com/kindafunny. When you do, you get the ability to watch us record the shows live as we record them, unless there's embargoes, and there's lots of embargoes lately for reviews. You also, of course, get the shows ad-free, and you get my daily exclusive vlog, Greg Way. But guess what? You're not a Kinda Funny member yet, so here's a word from our sponsor. Kinda Funny turns 9 years old today. We could have made it 9 days without your support. That's why 2024 is all about doubling down on our shows and making it simpler than ever for you to get the most out of our content. Our revamped Kinda Funny membership is your one-stop shop for all our amazing content, which now includes on a weekly basis the Kinda Funny podcast, In Review, the Kinda Funny Games Cast, PS I Love You XOXO, the Kinda Funny X-Cast, the brand new series Kinda Funny Game Showdown. 5 episodes of Kinda Funny Games Daily, and 5 exclusive Gregway vlogs.
And 5 days of streaming fun with me and the gang here in our newly revamped streaming space. It's gonna be filled with a ton of laughter and a whole lot of shenanigans. We'll see you there.
That's more than 20 pieces of content a week from an 11-person independent team in San Francisco. That's a lot, and to get the most out of it, all we're asking for is $10. $10 gets you the Kinda Funny membership, and that entitles you to ad-free versions of the shows, the ability to watch the podcast live as we record them, and the exclusive access to my daily show, Gregway. You can get your Kinda Funny membership on patreon.com/kindafunny or youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Yes, we are expanding our Kinda Funny membership offering to YouTube so people can take full advantage of the platform they prefer. If you want to go above and beyond the Kinda Funny membership to support us, we will still have higher Patreon tiers, albeit with some changed up perks. We just wanted to make the message as clear as possible that the $10 Kinda Funny membership is for the masses to get all of the core content people love. Everything above that is very appreciated. The support means the world to us. You all are the best. But the $10 Kinda Funny membership available on both patreon.com/kindafunny and youtube.com/kindafunnygames is where we see the value of what we do. Kinda Funny is a dream come true, and we wouldn't have it without you. We hope if you've ever enjoyed the content, you can support us for at least a month as we prepare for our biggest year ever. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you. Sam's question. State of play. Other big announcements.
Yeah.
Of course. State of play is always rumored. It makes sense to do one. They pretty much do them quarterly, right? Like, there's got to be one coming. There's got to be other stuff. Other big announcements coming. Remember, of course, in the video game world, you have GDC in March. Of course, we're doing a bunch of spring showcases. You can go to kindafunny.com/spring showcase to find out about it, right? Yeah, there's one S on the URL, I think. KindaFunny.com. Google it, it doesn't matter. There will be a bunch of games and indie games announced and shown there, right? And that is a chance for the next big breakout to happen and see what goes on with that one. Let alone the fact that, yes, then you figure, of course, Xbox does stuff around here. There's usually a Nintendo indie event around here. We still have so much time in the year to announce new stuff. But I don't see, as we bring it back to PlayStation, I don't see PlayStation doing a state of play and being like, guess what? And I mean imminently. Guess what? Ghost of Tsushima 2, and it's out this fall.
No.
Like, I just don't, and I don't see it being, hey, guess what? Sony Ben's new IP, and it's out this fall. Insomniac, Wolverine, go down the first party lineup and what they should be working on. And I just don't feel like the big stuff is to that point where you're like, this is what we're doing and where we're going with it.
There were two Bill Coon things that dropped, right? Like there was the Death Stranding 2 on the beach, like the full name of that,
which I do believe is this year.
Yeah, and like at this point, I'm like, at the very least, they're going to announce that name soon, right? Bill Coon gave them the timer of 15 days, and what Bill Coon says goes.
Happens.
He's never lied to us.
Yep, never lied to us.
And then I mean, there was Jeff Grubb talking about a few weeks ago that a state of play is incoming, which a state of play is always incoming, right? But also,
I thought even Jeff Grubb followed up on that. Like, I'm saying, because it always happens. Like,
well, I think that was for the Switch or for the Nintendo Direct.
Okay.
I think for the state of play, it seems like he was a bit more like, oh no, it's coming. And there was one other thing from Bill Coon. I'm gonna have to look it up as I talk.
Sure, go for it.
But yeah,
while you do that, I like looking at this Death Stranding 2 trailer, of course, and really wondering what the fuck is Death Stranding 2 going to be. Like, we can't be just delivering packages again, right? Not because I didn't like that gameplay, but because Hideo Kojima, certified freak. And like, I just don't think that we're going to come back and do the same thing, right? Like, I feel like we've got to be doing something similar, traversing the continent, doing the, but like, what is Death Stranding's gameplay going to be?
If it's titled On the Beach, again, like we've been saying, it's going to be the anime beach episode where they all go out and play volleyball.
They're going to serve
It's like you're Mario and I'm Princess Peach.
Until Dawn was the other thing. The Until Dawn re-release.
Oh, right,
yeah,
the re-release.
the like remaster or whatever.
Right.
We don't really know, but Bilbo Coon was like, yeah, we're gonna get a Until Dawn announcement soon.
I don't want it.
Really?
I don't want it. I feel like though, and I mean, I love Until Dawn,
Mhm.
and I recently went back and started it with Poe when he was visiting one time because we went through. Every time Poe comes, there's a new Supermassive game, and we usually play through that, right?
Yeah.
And it is that idea that like I feel where they've taken, not necessarily where they land every time, but where they've taken the Dark Pictures anthology
and
the Quarry, right? I like that because it learned all these lessons over time and learned from what Until Dawn was. Until Dawn, when you go back to, I feel is a bit more like, oh, okay,
See,
like you didn't
and that's-
necessarily know what you were doing.
That's what I want. That I don't think we're gonna get is I want it to be an Until Dawn director's cut or Until Dawn, like Until Dawn plus more. I would love them to either take lessons they learned over the years and use that stuff to like upgrade Until Dawn, or give us more choices or like one new character or bonus content. I don't want just an Until Dawn remaster because Until Dawn is playable on PS5, right? Like do a bit of what Last of Us Remastered did, even though people do not like Last of Us Remastered, but like they gave us a no return mode. That was new content, extra content. Give me that. Like I want something that feels like it is giving me more Until Dawn and not just a oh yeah, here's Until Dawn, but with
I'd be more
sense.
hype if they were just doing Until Dawn 2.
That would be awesome.
Until Dawn : Spring Break. Well, I don't fucking want. You know what I mean? But like, let's go and do
Until Dawn on the beach.
God, because you were like, fuck, God
damn
damn it. Back to the drawing board on this one.
But I think the fact that both those are floating in the ether, and also around the corner we have 3 games dropping on PlayStation that like they've been promoting between Helldivers, Suicide Squad, and Foam Stars. You know, State of Play is gonna have all of those. Like that is a quintessential. Like, oh yeah, let's drop a State of Play the week before those 3 games.
I'm not even talking shit about those games.
Yeah,
because of course I'm super in for Helldivers. Foam Stars we played at SGF and had a great time with. And Suicide Squad as a DC fan.
Yeah,
like I literally when I scroll my TikTok, they keep trying to show me things from the game, and I get off of it. Not the actual, but it's the thing where it's not the combat of it, but it's like they're walking around the Justice League. I'm like, I want to experience that myself. Like I'm not talking shit, but it's just like. Oh, no, I don't think any of those are like banger State of Play. You know what I mean?
But like that, PlayStation has never needed a State of Play to be a banger to do one.
Well,
right?
what's Capcom doing? They're gonna show up with some Resident Evil remake. They always do.
Probably like some
or new Resident Evil. I guess this year, right? We'd be into that part of the cycle since we just did.
Well, we had RE4 last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Usually, but I'm saying.
Oh, I mean,
instead of a remake, go to.
Oh, like an
time
RE9.
for 9? Yeah.
I feel like we're like maybe a year away from an announcement of a 9.
Okay.
But that's just based on feeling. I don't know. But yeah, I don't like. I think the banger announcements. If we go through the 5 things I just talked about, hey, Foam Stars is dropping on PS Plus. Let's talk about it. Hey, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is finally coming out. They're not going to use the word finally, but they're going to say it's coming out. Let's talk about it. Helldivers 2.
They fulfilled their contractual obligation to Suicide.
You think so? You think PlayStation?
I don't think. I mean, I don't think. Do you think you're going to get a State of Play before Tuesday? Because that's when Suicide Squad comes out. And
this
then
Tuesday?
Yeah, January 30th is early access, and then February 2nd is full release for Suicide Squad.
See, I think we get a State of Play the 1st, like February 1st.
Thursday, February 1st.
And maybe they don't talk about Suicide Squad. Like maybe.
Well, at that point, if you told me if it was February 1st, February 1st, you're getting a State of Play, then I'd be like, oh yeah, you're gonna get Suicide.
Yeah,
you'll get a trailer, and maybe it'll be like they already revealed the Joker, Elseworlds thing. Maybe they would do a full-blown trailer for that because that was during a dev live stream or something like that.
I say February 1st because one, State of Play is always February. I don't know, PlayStation just loves, or not February, sorry, always Thursday. PlayStation loves Thursdays for some reason. But then, yeah, you're talking about that Tuesday after on the 6th being PS Plus drop, which has Foam Stars, and then the 8th, or I guess later that week being Helldivers. And so it lines up
I'll stop you right there.
About all that. What's up?
Foam Stars is out Friday?
No, it's out. Foam Stars is out like in a week and a half. Yeah, it's out that Tuesday for PS Plus. And so you talk about all that shit, and then you talk about, hey, yeah, and we're putting out Until Dawn again. And then, yeah, maybe I think the big announcement is Death Stranding 2 On the Beach is what it's called, and it's coming out 2024. And then maybe you have a PSVR 2 game.
Where do you come down on Spider-Man DLC?
I don't know.
Someone had data mined or done some like rumor that they had of some guy Beetle. I've never heard of this fucking character.
Oh yeah, I think I recall this, but I don't know what the whole story was with that stuff. And so like
the fact that we still don't have
we'll
Spider-Man New Game Plus, which they've said
not.
No, it was supposed to be by the end of the year, and then Insomniac put up a thing like, "Yo, we're working on it."
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be paired with a big, hey, it's New Game Plus and here's the other thing that's coming. Maybe it could just be suits. It could just be every suit from Spider-Man 1 or some shit.
I don't think we'll get like a big DLC expansion for Spider-Man. I know I get the sense that for Spider-Man 1 it just wasn't that profitable.
I do not think you'd get, hey, it's 3-part city that never sleeps.
Sure.
Thing, you know what I mean?
But like one package that is like, hey, here's another like extra story that like just adds in new missions. I don't know.
Honestly, what they should do, Insomniac, free idea for you. I know you got all the free time in the world over there. You're not doing anything else. But people enjoyed, hey, let's web wing all the way over to story or whatever it was so much.
Yeah.
They should do a drop that's like, hey, we've put in 24 challenges similar to that.
See, I would love that.
And it's just you do them and then it rewards you with a suit or whatever. Just another reason to keep playing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
With the new Game Plus.
I'm with that because that's one of my things with when I completed Spider-Man 2. It very much felt like, oh man, there's nothing to do. Like I can go back and redo some of some of these specific. Can I spoil who's in Spider-Man 2 at this point?
I think
like,
so.
can I
Ladies
say
and gentlemen, we're going to spoil some people who were in Spider-Man 2. We expect you to know, but if not, I'm going to hold my hand on my head
His
the
hands on
entire
his head.
time.
I'm not going to spoil like
when
story
I take
spoilers.
my hand off, it'll go away. If you're in your car, just fucking hit the 15-second button and skip ahead a bunch.
I have also time coded it.
But like the only things you can do after you beat Spider-Man 2, after you complete Spider-Man 2, get the platinum, are Mysterio challenges and random crimes. And that's it.
Okay,
and I'm like,
you're not going to talk about other people, right?
no, that's it. Yeah. And I'm like, add some more stuff to do. Like, add some more repeatable content. I really liked in Spider-Man 1 that you had those stealth challenges that were, hey, like, try to get 3 stars on this thing, take out all the enemies as fast as possible while not being seen. That was such a fun activity. Bring back something like that. Yeah, bring back Screwball or whatever. Did we hate Screwball?
We hated Screwball.
But bring back another character. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, if you're going to do DLC, you add in 2 to 3 more activities that are like that, and then I don't know, maybe like a quick story thing. But at that point, it's like just save it for the next game. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is I think, you know, especially with the success you're seeing from Last of Us's roguelike No Return, not so much Valhalla, which is successful, but it is story. It is actually like, hey, this is important to Kratos' journey.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of little things you could do inside your game that are just, here's a reason to keep playing our game, to go do stuff, and it doesn't need to be
Spider-Man 2 roguelike.
From out to God's ear, you know.
Yeah, actually, hold on. Yeah, I think that's the one. I think that's it. Just give me a roguelike.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Use the character that I spoiled, who's not really a big spoiler at all, but
it would work.
Yeah.
So then, 2023 or 2024, would you take the known quantity or the limitless potential?
I'm such a Tekken fan, you know?
Yeah.
Tekken 8's so good.
Yeah.
Persona 3 Reload's about to come out.
Yeah.
Metaphor ReFantasio as well, man.
But like, how 2023 was just so good.
Great year of games.
What's your answer?
I would go 2024.
Yeah.
I would do the unlimited potential. I think it is the fact that like I can look at 2023 on this short list and be like, oh man, Spider-Man, Diablo, these games. But I feel like there's more games I see in 2024. I'm like, that looks really interesting. And I think it's going to hit for me. I think that's going to be a Greg game where I really am like, oh, I had a great time. I had again, in the most uninsulting way, 2023 had so many great games, but I feel like they were so many like, oh, I had a great I loved playing that game. But I don't feel like I walked away with a lot of games that were like that touched. See, Before Your Eyes stands out so much because it was one of those games that I talked about all the time with like Gone Home and Life is like it left a thumbprint on me where I'm like, I'm gonna feel that game forever.
And this goes back to like the formulating my top 10 thing for last year, where my top 10 had, again, 8 out of 10 of my games were on the list, on the final list, right? It was Alan Wake. It was actually I forget if Mario Wonder was on the list, but it was Alan Wake. It was actually no, I didn't put Spider-Man 2 on the list. It was just Alan Wake. No, it was Tears. It was Baldur's Gate 3. It was a bunch of games that made the list, and I look at that and I look at the list and I don't feel much passion towards it, right? I liked a lot of these games, but I think back to lists prior where it was Life is Strange, True Colors, and like Near Replicant, and like just a bunch of even Deathloop, right? And like a bunch of games that The Forgotten City, like that is where my passion lies. Like that is like a list of games that had like personality is not the right word, because last year's games had personality, right? But there was, I guess, just a uniqueness. There was a variety. There was
They spoke to you on a different level.
Yeah, they spoke to me on a different level, and I do think that this year has the potential to do that as well. Another thing that I'll add just to this conversation, right? Obviously, years are arbitrary. Years are a thing made up by man in space. But like, I do think that just the flow of games that we've been getting in the last year is just going to continue. Like, I think the games lineup that we've seen that we're still getting in this first month and a half, I think is less so like, oh man, 2024 is about to be a banger, and more so just video games right now are just bangers. Like, we're just getting good video games, and like that reaches back to even before 2023, where it was Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok coming out the year prior. I think we're just in a stage where a lot of high quality good video games are coming out. And also, I'm going to cherish it, because coming off of all these layoffs, I don't know how long this is going to last.
Christ, don't get me started.
I think in terms of the releases we're getting, like, we're getting a lot of really great stuff. I don't know if this is going to last like past the next year and a half as these projects start to come out, and like a lot of projects.
We had that backup of COVID, right?
Yeah, the backup of COVID. We were getting the release, and then also a lot of games right now are either getting canceled or not greenlit
Back
because
to the drawing board.
Yeah, back to the drawing board. And so by 2026, are we gonna have this anymore? Probably not. So I'm gonna cherish what we have and just charge it to, hey, games right now are great. All that said, I'm gonna go with 2024.
All right.
Yeah, I like the potential we have this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to know in the comments below where you'd go, 2023 or 2024. Blessing, before we get out of here, tell me about this week in PlayStation.
This week in PlayStation, we actually got no news. I think the big thing was, are we getting State of Play or not?
Oh, I thought we're gonna start putting this week. If this week of PlayStation includes PlayStation Pick.
Oh,
I wasn't gonna punish you.
No, that makes sense.
Where's the fucking news?
I'm sorry.
Shuhei said Pal World might come because he tagged one guy from product development.
PlayStation Picks. The drop this week looks like this. We got Howl coming this week. Immortality is on PlayStation 5 this week. Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney Trilogy for PS4. Hidden Through Time 2, Myth and Magic. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth for PS5 and PS4, and Tekken 8, the biggest drop of them all, coming to PS5.
But that is a huge one.
Yeah. That's what I picked to play on PlayStation. I've been playing Tekken 8 for the last few weeks as I've been reviewing it. The
5 out of 5, you said?
5 out of 5. As of the time we're recording, it drops later today. If people are listening to this after the episode's out for everybody, then it's already out. Let me tell you, game's a banger. This game's really, really good. Obviously, like in the last year, I've talked a lot about fighting games because a lot of fighting games have come out in the last year. And this baton pass from Street Fighter 6 to Mortal Kombat 1 and now to Tekken 8 has been such a fantastic time for me, because like, you know, all these games have been great. Street Fighter 6 has been incredible. I think Mortal Kombat 1 has been great, and Tekken 8 has been, again, incredible. I don't have enough good things to say about it, right? I think to reference things I talked about on the review, which you can find on the Gamescast feed, and which features Chris Scullion from VGC, but then also Mitchell Saltzman from IGN. It's so content filled in a way that makes me just very impressed with what Bandai Namco is able to do with this, because it has like 3 different single player modes. It has a story mode that is really fantastic, that takes all the great inspiration they need to from the Mortal Kombat stuff, right? But makes it Tekken in a way that feels so highly produced and over the top and anime and fun. It looks incredible. Like this is a game that's running on Unreal Engine 5, and it shows. The character episode stuff they have that like show the different stories that the different characters on the roster have. It was really fun stuff, really goofy, really funny, but it's been entertaining going through all the different character stories and getting bits of, you know, the dynamics they have with other characters and desires, and like, you know, what's driving them toward the Iron Fist tournament. That stuff's been great. The tools that they have to learn how to actually play Tekken are really great, really friendly. There's an arcade quest mode in this game that, like, you know, I think Mitchell compared it to Pokemon, where you get dropped in and you like find a rival, and the whole conceit of the mode is that you're going through these different arcades and you're playing Tekken 8 against other people who are in these arcades, and you're trying to work your way up through the championship. And in this mode, they do such a good job of introducing the mechanics and teaching you the characters that you're learning. And in my limited time playing Arcade Quest and playing through it and finishing it, I feel like I have leveled up my Tekken skill way more than even in the previous Tekken. And yeah, I think the tools are really, really great. Let alone like things like there's a replay replay mode that, a lot of fighting games let you rewatch your matches. This one, you can watch a replay, and mid replay, you click a button, and now you're controlling that character.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's fucking sick.
That's fucking cool.
And so you were basically like, you can try out different things in that scenario and see like, okay, what if I tried doing this against this guy when he did this? It's really cool. There's so many different tools like that in this game. And it's overall just really fun to play. I think it's a leveling up from Tekken of Tekken. They've found more ways to make it more complex with new systems. It's just fucking great. And so yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. I look forward to playing a lot more now that it's out for everybody, because that means I can get back online. And in the way that last year I was a Street Fighter 6 sicko, I am definitely going to be a Tekken 8 sicko this year. So
love it.
Get ready for that.
Full reviews up on Gamescast.
Yep.
Go check it out, everybody. For me, what did I pick to play on PlayStation this week? Did a stream with Immortality Team where I started up some Immortality. Obviously, you know how much I adore that game. If you haven't played it yet, go play it on PlayStation. Don't look into it. Have a great time with it. And then more importantly, I feel yesterday we streamed a whole bunch of Diablo. They dropped the new season of the Construct. And I just fucking love Diablo. And again, this is a game I've talked to death, both on the Game of the Year conversation, let alone all the podcasts last year. You drop back into Diablo, you roll a new character, and I'm like, fuck, I'm having fun. You know what I mean? Choosing, I'm right now. I'm running a druid for this season. I've never done a druid before, so I'm, I named it. I made it look like Kevin. I got 2 dogs. I'm trying to turn it into a werewolf. I'm fucking people up. It's like, this is great. The construct itself and stuff, like in the story version of it, we have it, but we're not that far with it. So it's like whatever. I got a spider walking around, but I also got 2 wolves, so that's pretty dope. But
yeah,
Diablo in general, great.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
What?
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Inside of you, there are 2 wolves. I was gonna make that joke, but I didn't know if that was one you'd get.
2 wolves?
Inside of you, there are 2 wolves.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been PS I Love You, XOXO, your PlayStation conversation. We're here each and every Friday morning, unless there's an embargo, and I think there is next week for something else we're doing. I don't know. A lot of embargoed ones, and they just pop up randomly with cool reviews and previews you need to know about. If you like that, of course, why don't you get that KindaFunny membership? You can grab it over on Patreon or YouTube, and you'd get each and every episode of the show ad-free. You'd get to watch us record it live as we record it, just like DG Mayor, Sam G, Unique Technique, and my dog Nick 96. And of course, you'd get my daily vlog series, Greg Way, all exclusive, all for you, because you're supporting us with the KindaFunny membership and keeping the lights and mics on. However, if you have no bucks tossed our way, no big deal. It's up on YouTube and podcast services each and every week with ads. None of the exclusives, but you get it. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to serve you.